All right, artists. The next type of printmaking we're going to learn about, I call paint and print. We did our Collagraph plates where you added texture to a plate to create prints. So you have experience with printmaking. Now this is sort of like stamping and printmaking. So you are going to use the tempera paint. We are going to share with our elbow mates, and you're just going to put paint in a tray. And we're going to print today, you're going to practice with me, a print of a still life. So the idea here is that we paint on one side of the paper, and as we work, before the paint dries, we're going to fold it over, use again pressure to get a print, and then we'll have a symmetrical image, it'll be the same on both sides, of what we painted over here. We only paint on one side of the fold of the paper. We don't paint on this side. So if you're right-handed, you'll work on the right side of your paper. If you're left-handed, you'll work on the left side of your paper and fold to the left. All right, let's get started, artists. So we're going to start by painting a vase. I'm going to use black. Your vase could be any color you want. It could be any shape you want. I'm going to do a very simple vase and make sure you're using plenty of paint. Now I'm going to print. So fold your paper once you have painted your vase and press. Voila, you should have two vases now. I love how these lines over on the printed side sometimes don't show up as well. You can also see where I had too much paint, it really blends out, it really presses out. So that's one thing you are going to want to avoid. Now I'm going to put some water in my vase, so I'm going to add a little blue here, have some streaks and some white. I'm not even rinsing my paintbrush right now. I'm just going to let it all kind of blend together. And now I'm going to print. My vase is obviously glass, if you can see the water through it. Ooh, love these textury marks. All right, now I'm going to make some stems, which are green. Do I have green, artists? No, so I need to use which colors? Good job. I'm going to start with my yellow. I'm going to put a yellow stem here, yellow and yellow. I'm working quickly and not too much paint. I do not want my paint to dry out. There's my stems. Press to print. All right, you're working along with me, artists. So you're making your stems, you're printing. I'm going to put some leaves in here. I already have yellow and blue on my paintbrush. Again, remember, we don't need to rinse if we're working within a color family. I'm going to add just a little bit more yellow on some of these leaves. And maybe just a little dot of blue. Not too much because I don't want my paint to make a big blob when I print. Okay, now we're going to print that. We don't want it to dry. Oh, I love where this is going. Okay, now I still have some blue on my paintbrush, so I'm just going to put a little bit more blue into my vase here to finish coloring it in and leaving one side darker than the other because I want it to look rounded. Now I'm going to add just some white to my vase right here to give it what we call a highlight, and again to make it look like it's round, we need it darker on one side and a little bit lighter on the other side. All right, I'm going to print that again. Okay, now we're starting to get some lighter areas in our vase, darker areas. This looks a little bit more three-dimensional. Now let's make a table line back here. Let's see, I have white and blue on my paintbrush. So I will stick with that and use a little white. And the blue comes off. I like that. There's my table line. I'm going to add a little bit of red and print. Beautiful. All right, let's start with our flowers. Now I'm going to rinse my paintbrush because I think my flowers are going to be in the orange color family. So I'm going to start with yellow. And then what color will I need to add? Good job, artists. All right, here's my yellow. So I'm just going to make some very simple flowers. I love daisies, so I'm going to make some flowers that echo a daisy. Start with just the middle. I'm going to add a little bit of white to my yellow because yellow is so transparent. I need a little bit of the white to help my yellow show up better. All right, let's print that before we do our petals. Beautiful. Again, I don't need to rinse my paintbrush because I am going to stick with my yellow to make my petals and some white. So I'm just going to do one flower at a time. Now I'm going to add a little bit of red, not to the whole petal, just along one edge. This is why I like using the pointed paintbrush, the round paintbrush, because I can get just the tip of the paintbrush with the red and put it just on the edges of my petals. I don't want to cover up all the yellow. Again, you want your petals to have value to them, just like the vase. Oh, that is beautiful. I am loving this. Okay, now we're going to do our next flower. Again, I'm going to do yellow. And I love daisies because they just look happy. They're a happy flower to me. And they are pretty easy to paint. See, it's just a line. It's just a paintbrush stroke. White on top, just a little bit of white on top. And then, again, that little bit of red to help it turn a little orange. I'm going to put some dots of red right in there. And print. We don't want to take too much time. The great thing about printmaking is that it will look a little abstract. That flower got very abstract. I think I had too much paint on it, but that is how we learn. Again, I'm not rinsing my paintbrush, and you can see now some of the red is really coming through on my yellow. This one, I think I'm going to make a little bit more red and blend it a little bit more so that the red actually turns a little bit more orange. And this flower, I think I want to make my more dominant flower, the one that stands out, more of the focal point. So I'm going to add a little bit more detail when I come back, but now we're going to print this before it dries. Oh, that print is beautiful. And that flower is pretty good. Now we can add a little bit more detail. I might come in here maybe with just a teeny bit of black to maybe look like pollen or give the middle of my flowers just a little bit more definition. Again, remember to print because that black is going to dry pretty quick. And it showed through. Nice. Now maybe I still have a little bit of black on my brush. I have not added any more paint, but I'm just very light touch. Very light touch. My paintbrush is hardly touching the paper at all, and I'm just releasing a little bit more of that black just to give a little bit of line and definition to my petals again, and then print. Well, this is fun, artists. I hope that you understand this technique. We're painting on just one side, printing on the other side. The printed side will be a little bit lighter, and it will be the mirror image to create that mirror symmetry. All right, now that you have practiced with me, you can choose what you paint. It is totally up to you. I would pick something that is a little bit easier for you, something that you have maybe already practiced, like a snowman or a house, drawing a horizon line, some trees. But keep practicing for the rest of class, artists. Have fun.